I made this soul collage card several years ago. I call it Hunter of Now. I pulled it out of my soul collage card collection this morning and let it speak to me as I sat beneath a tree near the local library after I did a little qigong practice with my feet in the grass. So this is what this card had to say. I am one who stays in this unfolding with delight and agility. Remember that each moment is unrepeatable. Your breath and bearing witness keep you in this truth. I invite playfulness and persistence in the midst of change and uncertainty. It was a good reminder for today of truth. Truth that came both from inside me and through the voice of something that I made out of other people's art. I love how when we pull disparate threads together, we can create something new that is also old. I get to teach a soul collage workshop at Long Live Brewery in Roxbury tonight, and I'm so excited. Even if only 2 people who have already told me they're coming are coming, that's perfect, because introducing others to a practice that I find both therapeutic and joyful, there couldn't be anything better. No. I have been in contemplation and in conversation on Monday Morning Muse with the question, what do you wish you had learned in school that you've learned from life instead? I've got a growing list of themes that are coming up in those conversations. And one source of data for me has been rereading old journals and writings from when I was younger. For example, me, 14, almost 15, beginning of my sophomore year of high school, 10th grade. Here we go. Doing chemistry homework is silly. Chemistry itself is silly. No, I don't really think that, but I do actually. What are these things that I am learning? Why are they important? I do not need to understand in order to survive, do I? Of course, that point is shallow, but at times it seems so true. All these things, huge concepts formulated by genius minds, I can hardly comprehend them, and it makes me mad to think that someone once discovered them. How brilliant they were, but why did they care? Curiosity seems so feeble a reason. Why did they need to know about atoms? Did they realize that their discoveries would lead to medicines and cures? Perhaps. But what can I do with this knowledge? I am so used to being taught. Where will I learn to discover? I loved reading that. Where will I learn to discover? I had many incredible teachers, and some of them taught in ways where it felt a little bit like I was discovering something. But it was when I got to teach in a Montessori school, which was, well, I taught in several Montessori schools for almost a decade. But in the process of learning the way Maria Montessori, one of Italy's first female physicians, in the context of learning how she observed early childhood natural learning and then brought that into classroom spaces, not only did it change the way I was a teacher, but it brought me joy and a deeper engagement with my life. Now, next week, we will be airing a conversation that is specifically about Maria Montessori and her education. And I'm excited to put that on Monday Morning Muse. It'll feature a wonderful Montessori educator and some special guests. But wherever you learned, I believe someone who keeps learning throughout their lifetime, they're a more powerful force for good in the world, because as we learn, we do better, and we maybe enact different energies at different times in our life based on what we're learning. Now, I've talked briefly about soul collage. I have checked in with me not loving chemistry homework as a 14-year-old. I'm moving in the direction of a question that I think I'm going to keep coming back to as I work with humans going forward. Let me give you that question now and then come back around to it after I've shared one more thing. The question is, what are your concentric circles? Concentric circles, remember, we've got something in the center and then larger circles around it. If at the center of your awareness is your one singular human life, what beings are immediately in the circle outside of that? What beings are in a larger circle? How do you think about concentric circles of other beings and energies in your life? I want to leave that fairly open-ended because it's important as we are discerning things for ourselves to have a little bit of ambiguity. But again, if you are the one at the center of your awareness, and it's you, and you drew one circle outside of you, maybe you put one other being in that circle outside of you, a person or an animal that is really, really close and gets you in an intrinsic way. But I've already added something, right? I said a person or an animal. What if for you, it's a spiritual force? What if for you, it's Earth itself, herself, however you want to define the energy of Earth? One way or another, I'm planting this concept, concentric circles of awareness. Now, I want to read one more thing. This is something that I wrote my senior year in high school, I think early in the year. It's a short poem, and I submitted it to the Lit Mag. It was rejected from my high school's Lit Mag, but I still like it. 11th grade idealism hallowed the lips of Thoreau and Whitman and Dickinson. The great ones broke the rules, they say, but only in every action they beg us not to trod that deified, deviant path. Finish high school with sparkling reports, and they'll write beautiful recommendations, and off we speed to the college of our choice, where we take all the right courses and graduate with honors. And we hurry on toward monotony, to marriage and successful jobs and soothing placidity. Numbed to life, we live on. And years in the future, our 11th grader comes home from class one day with Emerson gleaming in her eyes. And it's just a pinprick to our cold, hard routine. And we remember for a moment being told the great ones broke the rules. And we wonder just one pinprick moment why we did not trod that deified, deviant path. I read this aloud at a reading here in Somerville on Saturday night. That space is called Dear Reader. And I've gone a couple times and listened. This was the first time I read a few of my own pieces. It is such a sweet and loving space. It also happens kind of later in the night than I would prefer. I tend to be cranky by the time it's over just because I wish I were sleeping. But I was glad I got to read. And what strikes me in that space is the earnestness. It's so much full-hearted, hopeful, here I am, here's what I'm sharing. And it's from adults of all ages and some young people who, are adult-ish. By young people and adult-ish, I mean they're full grown and their prefrontal cortex not fully formed yet. Like they're not in their mid-20s. And like that earnestness that we carry with us, hopefully our whole lives, like some sense of hope or idealism or youthful energy, the way in which it plays out in different bodies in the space of Dear Readers just delights me. I've curated a lot of spaces for expression, and to protect the creative energy of others, this is something I have endeavored to do for a very long time. When you think about your concentric circles of awareness, is there any aspect of protection that comes into your mind? So I guess that's what I want to end with. The question: do you feel protective? Is that part of who you are? We each, those of us who are human, have a singular life to live. Even if you are confident you're going to come back in the next life, part of the delight of being human is the experience of singularity. And I invite you to ask yourself deeply the question: what do you want to learn? So now I've given several questions. In case you don't already know this, if you've just joined Monday Morning Muse as something you happen to be listening to, I've been asking the question of guests recently: what do you wish you had learned in educational spaces that life has taught you instead? I've been taking some notes. You don't need to worry about looking at those notes right now. I'm asking you, a person who happens to be watching this, to check in about what you want to learn, and to start by thinking about yourself at the center and circles outside of you. That's the invitation. Next week, we'll be talking about Maria Montessori. The conversation will be pre-filmed, but it'll be posted on Maria's birthday, which is the 31st of August. And going forward, more discovery, more learning to do. Perhaps you have a deviant path. Perhaps yours wants to be gentle and predictable. I hope you will continue learning, and that the now will find you safe and beloved in a circle that serves you and where you can be of service.